Support for Just Seen It comes from Fandor, dedicated to supporting independent films and filmmakers. Movies from around the world are available at fandor.com/PTV. Fandor, all for film. An elite DEA task force robs a drug cartel's safe house.
Clean up aisle 3.
Soon after, the group starts to get taken out one by one. Their commander has to turn the tables in order to keep them alive in Sabotage.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm here with Zorianna and Jami, and we're going to talk about Sabotage, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. We've all just seen it. Zorianna, tell me about this movie.
Well, I'm a big fan of David Ayer. He wrote Training Day, which got Denzel his Oscar. He did Harsh Times. He did last year's End of Watch, which was a fantastic film. So this is right up in his wheelhouse. But this film, David kicked it up a notch, and he set it in the world of DEA agents, which he's never done. And it's his first film that's set outside of LA. It's now in Atlanta. And so it feels a little more generic to me.
David Ayer is a brilliant writer and director. I mean, I think End of Watch was one of the best films of the year that it came out. Unfortunately, he co-wrote this script with Skip Woods, who single-handedly has destroyed some of the greatest fan franchises of all time. So he wrote X-Men Origins Wolverine, almost destroyed that franchise. He wrote A Good Day to Die Hard, almost destroyed the Die Hard franchise. And he did the TV to film adaptation of The A-Team, which was one of my beloved TV shows as a kid, and the film was lukewarm at best. So I really blame Skip Woods for why this film doesn't work.
Conceptually, for Ayer 2, I think it's a little bit broader, as you were saying, in terms of story, where now we're dealing with not just these DEA agents, now we're expanding and we're talking about DEA agents who are being hunted down, and there's this murder mystery element to it, and so maybe there's just too many balls in the air that he's trying to juggle. I don't know. I wasn't really interested in the mystery so much. I didn't really necessarily care who did it. And so I was just sort of left wondering what Ayer was trying to say with this material that he hadn't already done.
Yeah, because usually he takes you into that world. With his past films, you know the life that these cops lead, you know their professional lives, you know their personal lives. And here it was, again, I just keep going back to this, it was generic, and it's just not what you expect from someone like David Ayer.
You going somewhere?
One of my guys quit the team. He's off the grid. I got to warn him.
Okay. Grab your stuff and I'll drive.
I loved the ensemble actors that he had. He had Josh Holloway, Sam Worthington. There's so many people here, and I loved how they really got into their characters. I didn't recognize Sam Worthington at first. It took me a beat to realize that that's actually Sam Worthington. I appreciated that the actors really transformed themselves, did the training, really had the physicality of it. For me, the problem here is Arnold Schwarzenegger. No matter what movie you place him, it becomes an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I mean, he is the albatross around this movie's neck.
Arnold is one of the only characters in the film that I actually believe. He doesn't have the crazy Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liners that we're used to having, which I'm good with. Like, I believed that character as opposed to some of the other ridiculous characters.
Casting him was a mistake.
No! It's an occupational hazard when you fight the cartels.
Oh, really? You see any other feds getting smoked?
It could happen to anyone.
In terms of being the most realistic character, maybe I could buy into the fact that of all of these crazy, unhinged DEA agents, I could buy Arnold as the one that they follow and look up to. That's true. But in terms of Schwarzenegger himself, this is a grittier, more violent film than we're generally used to. He's trying to branch out and do something a little bit different. And David Ayer does a lot to try and add some style to the movie. I mean, he's using different cameras and almost putting them on guns at some time.
And the action sequences were great.
They're good. There's a slick car chase at the very end of the movie that I thought was to the point and fun and worked. People are hanging out the back of trunks and truck beds, and like I wasn't sure how they were still on their cars when they were going around the cars. It was still fun.
You know what I appreciated about this movie, and it did carry his grittiness that David Ayer tends to have, was that, you know how in movies when like there's pedestrians walking or bikers, like in other movies they're just like, whoa, and they get toppled over. But here, those people die.
Yes.
Like, the biker gets killed. Like there are casualties here in this movie that don't normally count as body parts in other movies. So that I had to hand it to David Ayer, that people who normally should get killed in these films do get killed.
I will say, though, I did think that the violence was a little bit more graphic than we needed it to be. I mean, maybe there's a sense of realism that he's trying to put in this film, Ayer. But, you know, people going to see a typical Arnold Schwarzenegger film are going to go in and see some of these violent images and be off-put by a lot of them.
Well, that's the David Ayer element of the film, and it's less cartoony than what we would expect from an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah, there's nothing cartoony about this movie.
No, it's gory and it's violent, and that's maybe the one thing that works about the movie is that the David Ayer element of it. It's not an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I mean, I think the way we're talking about Arnold makes it sound like it is. It's not. It's a David Ayer movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger is acting in, and that element works for me. Just the script doesn't.
This is a watered-down version of a David Ayer movie, so stream it.
The film has great actors, terrible script, good action. I say stream it.
It offers enough for the hardcore adrenaline junkie, but the script shows its own signs of sabotage. So I say, stream it.
Well, our votes add up to 1.5 tickets, so that is a stream it for Sabotage. Cheers.
Sabotage!
This is a watered-down version of a David Ayer film. Skip it. Ah!
Just Seen It is made possible by Adobe and the Adobe Creative Cloud, including Adobe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and After Effects. More information is available at bit.ly/AdobePTV.